Well, howdy, folks. First and foremost, I'd like to apologize for not having my beautiful face in this video more. Honestly, I really hate being in video, and I don't think that you're over here watching this because you really want to see what I look like anyways, and if you do, then you've got problems. So I just wanted to take a moment to kind of showcase my little training rifle that I've got for the wife and the kids. Well, that's a good excuse anyways. They can shoot it. I may have built it for myself or had it built for me. I had the Action Trude blueprinted. Same thing with the bolt. I did change out to a Greg Tannell firing pin assembly and spring. I also had the receiver opened up from a 648 to 840, so I could put just a little bit more of a beefy scope mount on there. Other than that, the recoil lug is still the factory recoil lug. It was just ground to make sure that it was even. And then obviously the biggest thing would be that I had my factory barrel removed and had a 26-inch Krieger, and this is in a heavy varmint contour. The chambering is the big, massive 223 Remington. Actually, the chambering is a 223 Wild, which gives you just a little bit more free bore for loading some bullets out there. And currently, that's kind of biting me. I'm going to have to tune this magazine a little bit, because if I load anything like this one here past about 2.275, I start to run into some feeding issues. Not a problem. 223 mags for this can be pretty finicky until you work with them a little bit. Easy enough. So this rifle actually started as a Remington 700 SPS Tactical that I bought post, I think I got back in 07. I think I got it right when I got back in 07. And it was in 223. It had a 20-inch factory barrel and the really horrible plastic factory stock, which was immediately swapped out for a Macmillan A5. And then later on, when I decided to make it a training rifle for my wife and my in-laws, I swapped that out again for an HS Precision that I could adjust a little bit faster and a little bit easier for them. I'll throw some pictures up here if I can find them. It was a wonderful shooting rifle, factory rifle, with the work trigger embedded in a stock, and that was it. Just bedded it, and I took the trigger down a little bit, and it shot right about half minute of angle pretty consistently at 100 and 200 yards, which was all I could shoot it for at the time when I had that rifle. As with all things that are fantastic, something inevitable usually happens. I don't know what happened, but when it made its way back here to Oklahoma, somehow some rust developed in the bore, and even though it still shot okay, it opened up from a half-minute rifle to closer to about a 1-minute rifle. So that gave me my excuse to spend my money and play with something else a little bit more. Obviously, the HS stock went away. I happen to really like the way a Macmillan A4 and even the A5 fit my hand. So I went with a Macmillan A4 on this one, and I just wanted to make it just a touch more classy. It seems to do okay for me. I've got a Trijicon. This is one of their 10 miles. This is a 4.5 to 30 by 56. It's a good optic. I mean, I've got other optics that are made over there in Japan by Light Optic Works, and this is very comparable to them. There might be just a little less tactile feeling in the turrets, but other than that, it's fantastic. The glass is extremely comparable to your other optics that come out of that shop. So I don't want to ever badmouth it. It seems to do extremely well. So why am I using a 69 grain Sierra Match King and some Reloader 15 powder that I also happened to buy a ton of in 2007? Well, because I bought a ton of them in 2007, and I am still shooting the remaining. I think I'm down to about 1,100 bullets left, and probably about 4.5 pounds of some 17, 18-year-old powder. For those of you who think the 17 or 18-year-old powder doesn't work, if you store it all right, it still works pretty well. The extreme spread and standard deviation on this gun are not exactly where I would want it. And to be honest, the velocity is a little low. I have gone with Starline brass because I got a great deal on it. And Starline has a much thicker case and reduced case capacity over things like Lake City that I used to use, or Lapua, or some of those other ones. So you're going to run into pressure much sooner with it. You can get a little bit more velocity, but you're also not going to be able to get more velocity per charge, equal to the charge weight. But you're not going to be able to get as much velocity hot rod in one of these as you are some of those other cartridges. So I like Starline brass. I've got it in several cartridges, and it works excellent. It's actually very consistent for what you pay for it. However, that being said, if you are a velocity hound, I think that you would probably want to go with something else in the 223. I'm pushing this 69 grain Sierra Match King somewhere in the 28-25 range, which any 18-inch barreled AR would be able to accomplish if you were to stand on it a little bit. So it's a slow one, but I'm not out here trying to shoot some big Magnum either. I've got big Magnums for that. This is just a nice little easygoing pop gun. I'm going to back out here and probably just take a little bit of footage of this rifle where you can see the whole thing on there. Oh, I guess I've got Hawkins bottom metal before I forget, and it's got a Trigger Tech primary trigger. I've got it set at close to 3 pounds. One, because it's a trainer for everybody else, and two, if you guys didn't know, I actually don't have a lot of feeling in my fingers. So some of these rifles, like my Accuracy International and whatnot, I have to really be careful not to fire them when I am trying to register that first stage. So I much prefer a 2 to 3 pound trigger, and I can shoot a 2 to 3 pound trigger just as well as anything else. So your mileage may vary, and for those guys that have to shoot a 6-ounce trigger to shoot well, hey, good on you, man. Just keep going. But other than that, I'm going to shut up for a minute. I'm going to take this back out here, sit it in the grass where you can see what it looks like from tip to butt, and then we'll try my hand at shooting just a little bit. This is not the greatest load for it, but it still works. So, you know, it's got a fairly wide accuracy window where the accuracy is acceptable, around a half minute again. But there are other bullets that this gun much prefers. And really, this gun is just absolutely nothing short of phenomenal. Matt, when he spun the barrel on, when he chambered the barrel and put it on, along with doing all of the blueprinting on this Remington 700, did a fantastic job. I threw together 20 groups of 5 rounds just testing various powders and bullets that I've got. And out of those 25 shot groups, I had one that was minute of angle, and everything else was sub-minute. But I mean, just the quality of work, you know, you don't realize what you can actually turn an old 700 into until you've had somebody work it over. I'm not saying it's as good as anything else. I've got an Origin that I would much prefer, or, you know, a Surgeon or an Accuracy International or a Sacco, but you can't discount one of these. And if this is all you've got back home and you wonder if you can get an old 700 to do fantastic new things, you just need to take it to a good rifle smith, and they'll be able to do it for you. So I'm going to shut up now, and let's take a look at this rifle. So what I'm doing today is I'm just kind of verifying a load that was really successful in the last gun, but I've got a ton of components to use, and so I'm not going to be messing with too much other than this. It seems to shoot it okay. I'll probably try to see if I can stick up a target picture of how it kind of averaged through when I was doing some low development. I didn't really like the velocities too much, but I'm going to be popping a few rounds of 300 here. I'll have to single feed these. If it looks okay, I'm going to put a trigger cam up and we'll try it again. Wind right now is about 5 to 7, but in typical Oklahoma fashion, it is not blowing in the same direction for more than about 5 seconds. So that should give me about a mil, almost left-right, to try to read and correct in between before I mess that up. And I'll think of any other excuses as they come along. So appreciate you stopping by. Let's shoot a few rounds and see where this is at. I think this is a complete clean and cold barrel too. So I might shoot one, make an adjustment, and then shoot 9 more. I can already see I got grass in the way. The joys of summer. Wind is directly behind me. So I'm gonna take one shot dead at it, see where we're at. Hit. Problem with a 223. Sometimes you can't tell exactly where you hit. I'll do this 9 more times. We'll go down there and we'll find out that we were on the bottom corner of the target or something. Actually, I think I'm pretty close. Keep it up while I got the wind here behind me. This is a Remington 700 Action. It's got a 26-inch Krieger. Yeah, I missed a little bit of wind on that one. Alright, the wind's behind me here, but it is definitely coming from my right to left down there. So I'll account for that. It's 5. Great thing about summer, sweat gets in your eyes. All right, wind's calmed down there. Not a clue. Let's go find out how it did.